The Ballad of the Clampets, From the Mountains to the Hills. Come and listen to a story about a man named Jed. He was a poor mountaineer who barely kept his family fed. Then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground came a bubbling crude oil, that is, black gold. Texas tea. The first thing you know, old Jed is a millionaire. The kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. They said California is the place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is. Swimming pools. Movie stars. This is the story of the Beverly Hillbillies. Everything began with a difficult departure. They had to go in and say goodbye to Mr. Drucker before being on their way. Uncle Jed looked at his family, noticing the reluctance in their eyes. Ellie Mae admitted she did not want to leave Hooterville, and Jethro agreed completely. Jethro felt he was the first real, live, big-time Hollywood producer and director those country girls had ever seen. Jed apologized to the boy, but insisted they had to go. Jethro complained because he had managed to get himself engaged to 4 of them. Jed pointed out that those were 4 reasons right there why they had to leave. Granny sure did hate to leave as well. A local man wanted to be her sweetheart, even though she thought he was trying to leave them. Her suitor was the town storekeeper, the postmaster, the newspaper publisher, and the banker. Jed reminded them all that it was not as if they were leaving forever. He promised they would be back, perhaps at Christmas time. For now, they had to return Miss Jane's car to her. They arrived at the store and greeted Mr. Drucker. Sam Drucker welcomed them warmly. He told Ellie Mae that Evie was waiting in the back room to tell her goodbye. Sam was mighty sorry to see the folks leaving for Beverly Hills so soon. Jed explained it was not by choice and remarked that they had never met a nicer bunch of people. Sam felt the same way about the Clampets. Granny asked Sam if he would forget her, and Sam joked that it would likely be the other way around, since Granny would be in the movie capital surrounded by matinee idols. Granny claimed she had seen enough of those Hollywood glamour boys like Bull Montana. At her age, she was looking for more than just a pretty face. Before they left, Jed wanted to add a little something to the savings account Granny had started for the baby. Mr. Drucker opened his bank for business. Jed handed over a couple of hundred. When Sam asked if Jed wanted him to count it, Jed told him that if he said it was a couple of hundred, then it was a couple of hundred. Sam gave him the deposit slip, and the business was done. Ellie Mae returned, upset because she could not find Evie anywhere. Sam found that strange because Evie had been there since 5:30 in the morning with a long face. Jed decided they would see him on the next trip and told everyone to get on their way. Suddenly, a noise came from an apple barrel. Jed realized he might owe for some apples, but Sam said they were on the house. Jethro added that once word got around that a big Hollywood producer and director endorsed the apples, they would sell quickly. Jed urged them to move along. As they prepared to leave, Sam offered a bag of candy for the trip. Jed asked Jethro if he had put the suitcases in the trunk. Jethro confirmed he had, but noticed the trunk looked like it did not want to leave either. Inside the trunk, they found Evie asleep. They woke him up, and Evie asked if they were already there. He saw Ellie and told her she had to marry him now because he had been taken across the state line. Evie looked around and remarked that Beverly Hills looked a lot like Hooterville. Jed had to tell him that they were, in fact, still in Hooterville. Mr. Douglas had been calling for Evie because there were chickens to clean and corn to shuck. Evie felt he was at a moment of great decision, choosing between being a chicken plucker, a corn shucker, or a bullet ducker. Eventually, he went to call Mr. Douglas. Jed said his final goodbye to Mr. Drucker, explaining that their neighbor, Mr. Drysdale, was looking after their place and feeding Ellie's critters. Back in Beverly Hills, Mr. Drysdale was struggling. He wondered what the critters ate and complained that the place was now a zoo. He discovered Ellie had a full-grown bear living upstairs. The bear was having breakfast in bed. Mr. Drysdale was shocked that the bear slept in the house, but the bear slept wherever it wanted. Miss Jane Hathaway tried to cheer him up, saying the Clampets would soon be back, but Mr. Drysdale feared that if Drucker did not keep them there, the baby would. He referred to little Kathy Jo as a bunny Parker who was trying to rob his bank. Miss Hathaway defended the 2-month-old child, but Mr. Drysdale insisted the baby had the beady eyes and the mind of a Clampet. It was the bear's lunchtime, and Mr. Drysdale knew the bear did not like to be kept waiting. He complained about his torn shirt and the bad sheets. He felt the bear was rotten. He tried to trim the bear's nails, but the animal became violent because it did not like how the bed corners were tucked. Mr. Drysdale also mentioned another critter he would never forget, one he had Thanksgiving dinner with. While everyone else had turkey and dressing, he had bananas and bamboo shoots. Mr. Drysdale was reaching his breaking point. He told Miss Hathaway he was just about out of patience. The bear wanted its bag, and Mr. Drysdale had to get the tub. He lamented that while other bears hibernated, this one stayed awake thinking of ways to bother him. He felt he had taken a family of uneducated backwoods people and given them everything, only to face bankruptcy. Miss Hathaway pointed out he was not bankrupt, but Mr. Drysdale feared the loss of $80 million if Jed transferred his money to Hooterville. He felt the sting of an ungrateful hillbilly. He predicted that one day Jed would come back on his knees, begging to be made rich again. Just then, Jed walked in. Miss Jane noted that Jed was actually laughing. Along with him was E.B., who was introduced as Ellie's friend. Mr. Drysdale was surprised to hear that E.B. was practically engaged to Ellie. He dismissed E.B. as a hayseed, but Granny defended the boy, saying he was better than anyone Drysdale had found. Granny reminded Mr. Drysdale that he had been promising to find a fellow for Ellie for 7 years. Mr. Drysdale claimed he had a perfect country boy ready, but Granny said they did not want any city slickers. Jed told them that nothing was official between Ellie and E.B. yet. Mr. Drysdale claimed his young fellow was a real country boy, born so far out in the country that the sun set between his house and town. Granny wanted to see him to believe it. Jed thought it would be nice for Ellie to have a choice, even though he liked E.B. Meanwhile, Mr. Drysdale and Miss Hathaway went to find their country boy. They found Dash Riprock, a famous movie star. Dash was being hounded by fans for autographs. Mr. Drysdale chased the fans away and spoke to Dash. It turned out Dash's real name was Homer Noodleman from Peoria, Illinois. Mr. Drysdale wanted him to change his name back to Homer and pretend to be a farm boy to court Ellie Mae. Dash was hesitant, but Mr. Drysdale threatened not to renew his movie contract. The plan was to keep the Clampetts and their $80 million in the bank. Miss Hathaway was skeptical that Dash could pull it off, but Mr. Drysdale insisted that Dash was a fine actor with depth and talent. He gave Dash a script of country expressions hidden in his hat. They went to the Clampett house and introduced Homer Noodleman. Jed noticed he looked like the movie fellow Dash Riprock, but Mr. Drysdale explained that Homer had given up acting to return to his first love, farming. Homer tried to use country talk, saying he had been out slapping the hogs. Jed and Granny were a bit confused by his expressions, but Jed accepted that he had slapped many a hog out of the corn. Granny invited Homer to supper, offering sow belly, dandelion greens, and goat tripe. Homer suddenly remembered he had to go home to milk the crows, then quickly corrected himself to say cows. Granny thought he talked through his hat, but Mr. Drysdale insisted he was just a shy country boy. Jethro entered and was confused to see Dash Riprock dressed in overalls. Dash maintained his character as Homer the farmer. Jethro was disappointed because he had promised the girls in Hooterville he would introduce them to a movie star. Ellie Mae came in, and Homer tried to court her. Ellie was overwhelmed by the bear in her bed and Dash Riprock in overalls. She decided to leave the room. To further the ruse, Mr. Drysdale brought in a man he claimed was Homer's father, Noble Noodleman. In reality, it was a man he had hired. Granny wanted to meet the father. The man playing Noble Noodleman was quite cranky. He refused Granny's food and got into an argument with Dash, calling him a rotten, hog-slapping kid. The fake father even started throwing sweet rolls at Mr. Drysdale. Granny was impressed by the old man's gumption but disappointed in the son. Eventually, the chaos led to Homer leaving. Granny told Ellie to forget him and stick with her pets. As the day ended, it was time to say goodbye to Jed and all his kin. They thanked everyone for dropping in and invited them back next week for more hospitality. This was the story of how the Hills came to the city and how the city tried and failed to act like the Hills. The Clampetts remained who they were, simple and honest, while the world of Beverly Hills continued to turn around them. Y'all come back now, here?